Hello everyone, my name is Willie Reed, my name is, and today I'm going to be talking about a movie that came out 40 years ago. A movie based on an actual true event that happened years ago that cost the lives of 4 people. A movie that brought so much fear in people that it kept them from going into their own bathtubs. And I'm of course referring to the blockbuster success of 1975's Jaws. Oh yeah, you heard me right. Jaws turns 40 today, and I'm so happy this movie came out. It's not only one of my favorite horror movies, but it also helped with Steven Spielberg's career. And what I love about this movie is how well the story is told, the characters, the suspense, the awesome ending, and of course the fear. The fear it brought out, and how much it scared people for the first time when it came out. I'm not even kidding. It not only kept people from going into the water, but their own bathtub as well. And that's what I love about this movie. It's the fear it brought out and how much of an impact it made. But 40 years later, does this movie still hold up? Well, yeah, I think it does. But before I get into more details about that, let's take a look at its origins. And as I said, this movie is a book written by. This movie was based off a book written by Peter Benchley, who unfortunately passed away years ago. It was inspired by an actual shark attack that happened in 1916 up the coast of New Jersey. The attacks happened around the summer during World War I, where up in the East Coast, people were suffering from heat waves. So many of them traveled to the beaches to relax, soak up that nice cool water, and just have some fun. Everything was going well until July 1st when the first shark attack happened that took the life of a young man. Unfortunately, since this was around the time that our knowledge on sharks was limited, we didn't know if we didn't know a lot about sharks. We knew a little, but not too much. So people just assumed this was a one-time thing, and they kept the beaches open until another shark attack happened that took the life of another young man. So they caused the beaches to close. This caused people to panic and be scared, wondering what's going to happen. The final attacks happened up Manawan Creek, which connected to the sea. But due to the water being fresh, many didn't believe sharks could go up there. However, as we find out years later, there is a shark that can go up there, but anyways, a shark did make its way up the creek, taking the lives of a young boy and a young man, and there was another attack, but that young boy survived. So 4 people died, a fifth one survived, and, well, many claim that it was a great white shark since they caught the shark, they opened its stomach, and they found the remains of, some bones, some human bones. But of course, some people believe it was a bull shark, but who cares, right? In any case, this helped Peter with his book years later, and it also helped with Steven Spielberg's career. Now, I'm betting many of you are wondering, what is it about this movie, that makes it so good? Well, the story for this movie has a rogue shark coming to the small island, attacking its citizens, killing them, causing its hero to go after the shark and try killing it. Now, this might sound like a typical kind of horror story we've seen in the past, but trust me, this was before the concept was used so many times, so it was still fresh. The story also helps with character development, which is pretty good. It helps us understand these characters. It keeps us wondering what's going to happen, and it brought out so much fear. The fear that this movie brought out was so good, especially when one of our main characters talks about the USS Indianapolis. This was a ship that was carrying a nuclear weapon that would be used to be dropped on the Japanese during World War II. During its return after dropping off the weapon, the ship was sunk by a Japanese submarine, killing hundreds of soldiers. The survivors that escaped from the ship suffered from heat exposure, wounds that they suffered, dehydration, saltwater poisoning, and of course shark attacks that left only 300 men, or at least around that number, that survived. And when it was told through our main character, it brought more fear in the story. It kept you hooked. The story kept you so hooked, and it made you wonder what is now going to happen. Because this was close near the end, so you get to hear the story, and wow, it's so much fun. And the conclusion for this story is so good as well. It's so much fun, especially when our main character gives that famous line, "Smile, you son of a," and boom, the shark blows up and it's no more. And speaking of our characters, let's take a look at the 3 main characters. Roy Scheider, I probably said his last name wrong, sorry, who plays Chief Brody, who is our hero and main character who tries to warn the people about the shark. Richard Dreyfuss, sorry if I said his last name wrong, plays Hooper, a marine biologist who helps Brody prove that there is a dangerous shark and they need to stop it. We also have Robert Shaw, who plays Quint, a fisherman who's also the character who tells us about the Indianapolis story because he was there. So that's pretty cool. With all three characters together with the story, it's a lot of fun. The story focuses more on Brody, who's trying to warn people, trying to keep them away from the water, but because the people of the island depend so much on tourists, and the mayor tries to make the death of the first victim look like an accident, that no one believes the chief. It isn't until the second attack happened that they decide they need to do something about this. Thus come in our other character, Hooper, who, concludes that this shark is dangerous and he needs to stop it and he needs to close the beaches. But no one against believes them and they keep the beaches open. It isn't until a third death happened and Brody's son is almost killed that they decide they need to do something about this. So Quint is brought in, who agrees to help for some money and other things. So the three of them go off to try killing the shark. And what I love in this story is how well the characters interact with one another. The chemistry of all three is fun. The interaction between Hooper and Quint is a lot of fun, especially when they argue. And just them sitting around, talking about their scars, drinking, hearing the story Quint tells them. It keeps you hooked on the story. It keeps you wanting to know more. You love these characters. You want to hang out with them. And they do such a great job of making these characters likable that all three play their roles so well. And it's a shame they never did any more work together. They're all great characters. They're all great actors, and I love how well all three play with one another. The side characters are good too, and they all play their roles in the story well. So, along with the story and the character, this movie has done a good job with all of them. Now, in many horror movies today, they're not done well. There's the many typical characters that you already know who they are, and you don't care much about them. So, those kind of characters you don't like in those kind of horror movies. In this one, it was still fresh, and they did such a good job with them. But what about the suspense, the music? Are they all good? The music? Oh, yeah. The music is still good. It still holds up along with the suspense, the shark brain. When we see its point of view and we see the shark when it's going to attack and you hear that song being played in the background, I mean, oh my god, it's so cool. And yeah, even though the shark is mechanical, it's still pretty cool. Better than the CGI sharks we have now. I think my favorite would be the documented videos that we see where they edited into this movie where we see, instead of the mechanical shark, we see the great white shark under the water. So we see that shark going around, at least not with our main characters, but just to see it, it's pretty cool. So we have that and the mechanical shark. It's pretty good. And what this movie does in suspense, it isn't backed up by jump scare scenes. It is brought with actual fear, suspense, just hooking you onto this, and it keeps you, as I said, on the edge of your seat. It's done so well that it makes all the crappy horror movie remakes that we've seen in the past look like child's play. So, yeah, even years later, this movie still holds up. It's still awesome. I would recommend checking this out. And no question, it's still one of the best. It has its flaws, yes, but not big ones. Just small ones that are not worth mentioning. That doesn't make this movie good. These flaws does not make the movie good. It's the other things I mentioned that makes this movie awesome, and I love it. The shark does not depend on CGI to make it look good. The fear does not depend on jump scare scenes. It depends on real fear, and the characters and story are done so well that it'll keep you wanting to see more of this. So if you guys have a different opinion about this movie, leave some comments below, let me know what you think, and I'll be here next time to give you more love and more entertainment. Take care, goodbye, and Mr. John Williams, can you please play that song for me, please? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I love that song. Bum, 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 bum. See you guys.